The bright lights of the Hollywood studio beamed down like artificial suns, casting a golden glow over the stage where history, or at least a lot of memories, was about to be made. The air was electric, thick with the scent of hairspray, floor wax, and the palpable nervous energy of four couples standing at the threshold of a televised adventure. This was Hollywood, the land of dreams, and today, it was the home of the Newlyweds game. The announcer's voice boomed through the rafters, introducing the stars of the afternoon. First, there were Christy and Brian Hunter-Muller, a pair who had shared their lives as husband and wife for precisely 4.5 months. They stood close, their smiles fresh and full of the discovery that comes with the first season of marriage. Beside them were Oriana and Andrew Valdez, who had reached the 9-month milestone, a period where the initial whirlwind begins to settle into a steady, rhythmic dance. The third couple, Myesha and James Riley, were the true beginners of the group, having walked down the aisle just 3.5 weeks prior. The stardust of their wedding day seemed to still linger around them. Finally, Kelly and Brian Sivas rounded out the group, veterans of the stage with 17 months of marriage behind them, bringing a sense of seasoned companionship to the lineup. Then, with a flourish of applause and the familiar theme music, the star of the show emerged. Bob Eubanks walked onto the set with the easy confidence of a man who had seen 1,000 love stories unfold under these very rafters. "Hello. Thank you. Thank you. Hello, everybody," Bob greeted the cheering audience, his eyes twinkling with practiced warmth. "Welcome to the Newlywed game and a very special hello to our 4 newlywed couples over there. Nice to have you with us." He turned to the women, his smile widening. "And you know what? Ladies, it's time for you to go off to our soundproof area." As the wives were led away, leaving the studio in a trail of perfume and soft laughter, Bob turned his attention to the 4 husbands. The atmosphere shifted slightly, becoming a bit more like a locker room, albeit one decorated with shimmering curtains and television cameras. "All right, while the ladies are leaving, I want to remind all of our husbands over here that I will be asking you some 5-point questions," Bob explained, leaning against his podium. "You will be answering these questions as you predict your wife will answer the same question when she returns. Now, remember, if her answer matches your prediction, you get 5 points. And it's the couple with the most points at the end of the show that wins a fabulous second honeymoon." The stakes were set. The prize was a journey back to the romance of their early days, and all that stood in their way were a few questions about how well they truly knew their partners. "So, the ladies are gone, and gentlemen, here is your first 5-point question. You ready?" "Here we go," Bob said, checking his cards. "Gentlemen, for 5 points, how often will your wife say, 'You fantasize while making whoopee'? Would it be all the time, some of the time, or none of the time?" He pointed to the first Brian. Brian Hunter-Muller took a breath, glancing momentarily at the empty seat where Christy had sat today. "I am gonna have to go with some of the time, Bob." "Some of the time you fantasize," Bob repeated, a mischievous glint in his eye. "Yeah. You want to tell us about it?" "No," Brian replied quickly, a nervous chuckle escaping his lips. "I could get a little rough a little later here, but—" No, I don't want to hear it later," Bob laughed, waving him off before moving to the next contestant. James Riley, the husband of only 3 weeks, looked thoughtful. I would have to say some of the time." "You fantasize some of the time?" "Yeah, about her, of course," James added with a sincere nod. "Oh, sure, yeah. You ought to run for office," Bob quipped, drawing a roar of laughter from the crowd. He turned to Andrew. "Andrew?" "Yeah, I would go with some of the time," Andrew Valdez agreed. "Some of the time you fantasize." Yeah, I will go with some of the time." "That okay with that?" Andrew asked, looking for confirmation. "Yeah, I am all right," Bob assured him, then pivoted to the second Brian. "Okay, Brian?" Brian Sivas didn't hesitate. "Again, I will say some of the time, but again, Christy's a part of it always." Bob paused, a look of mock confusion crossing his face. "Oh, but she's—" "Oh, yeah, I understand it totally, guys. Your nose is gonna grow, you know that." The laughter subsided as Bob prepared the next prompt. This one hit closer to the daily habits of domestic life. Next question, gentlemen. Gentlemen, what will your wife say is the one thing you think she stuffs her face with much too often? And be specific. What's the one thing that you think she stuffs her face with much too often? James was the first to answer this time. Ooh, I would have to say bread. She always eating bread. She likes biscuits. Bob moved to Andrew. Andrew. Andrew shook his head, a playful smile on his face. I wouldn't go with food. I would say the phone. It's always in her face. It's always on her mouth. She stuffs her face with the phone? Bob asked, incredulous. Yeah. I would say she's stuffing it in her mouth, Andrew joked. She's fantasizing, man. You know that, Bob teased before turning to the first Brian. Brian? Candy bars, Brian Huntermuller answered without a second thought. Christy loves candy bars. Candy bars. Okay. And Brian? Bob looked to Brian Sivers. Potato chips because of the salt, Brian Sivers said. Gotta have the salt. The game was progressing with a light-hearted rhythm, revealing the small, endearing quirks that make up a marriage. But the final 5-point question took a turn toward the extended family, a topic always ripe for a bit of comedic tension. All right, here is the last of our 5-point questions, Bob announced. Gentlemen, how will your wife say you would complete this sentence? This is you talking now. When it comes to my wife's family, I would rather spend an entire day having a root canal than a few hours with her blank. Give me a first name only, please. He looked at Andrew. You would rather spend the whole day having a root canal, Andrew, than a few hours with her. Her grandmother, Andrew said firmly. Her grandmother. I mean, what's the matter with her grandmother? She just don't like me, Bob, Andrew explained, his voice filled with a mix of frustration and amusement. She hates me with a passion. I mean, why does she hate you? You seem like a good guy. I am. It's just, I don't know. I guess I took her granddaughter from her, and that. She has excuses. Bob nodded sympathetically, then moved to Brian Huntermuller. Oh, okay, Brian. I am not sure, Brian mused. I would have to say Christy's brother. I like him. Which brother? What's his name? Rick. I like him a lot. Rick, I like you a lot, but he's been staying with us, and it's. You don't like Rick, do you? Bob caught the hesitation. I like him, I do, Brian insisted. But you would rather have a root canal than spend a few hours with Rick. Well, it's just. Because I see him all the time. I understand, Bob said, then turned to Brian Sivers. Okay, Brian? That would be her Grandma Boo Boo. Her Grandma Boo Boo? Yeah, Grandma Boo Boo got the name because when they were younger, they had a small dog named Boo Boo, and when they would go to Grandma's house, they didn't know which one, so it's going Grandma Boo Boo's. Thanks for sharing that story with us, Bob said, a smile tugging at his lips. He looked at James for the final answer. Yes, it's Jane. Her mother's gonna kill me, but maybe her mother. James suggested tentatively. Her mother, yeah. That's okay, Bob encouraged. Her mother's nice, but I don't know anything else to say, James added. Oh, no, you said 20 already, Bob laughed. Thank you guys very much. We will be right back to reunite our newlyweds, and we will see how well our husbands have predicted what their wives will say right after these messages. The studio lights dimmed for the commercial break. On the monitors, advertisements played visions of $500 in cash, Black Friday frenzies at buzzer, and the complexities of Medicare Part C plans. There were reminders of responsibilities to veterans through the Wounded Warrior Project and the simple joy of a Christmas tree from Balsam Hill. These snippets of the outside world served as a bridge between the heightened reality of the game show and the everyday lives of the people watching. When the red light on the camera flickered back to life, the ladies had returned to their seats. The atmosphere was warmer now, a reunion after a brief separation. And welcome back to the Newlywed game, Bob proclaimed. Okay, gentlemen, we have recorded your predictions on cards. You now have them flat on your laps. Each time that your prediction matches your wife's answer, you get 5 points. And remember, it's the couple with the most points at the end of the show that wins a wonderful second honeymoon. He turned to the ladies. So, ladies, it's nice to have you back, and boy, did we find out some stuff about you. Here we go with our first 5-point question. Ladies, how often does your husband fantasize while making whoopee? Would it be some of the time, all of the time, or none of the time? He started with Christy. Christy. Better be some of the time, she answered with a playful warning in her voice. Some of the time. Some of the time. It is some of the time. That's right, Bob confirmed as the match was made. What do you think he fantasizes about? I hope it's me, but I am not positive, so. Bob moved to Oriana. Oriana. Some of the time. Some of the time you think he fantasizes. He said he fantasizes some of the time. Yeah. You want to tell her who it is, Andrew? No, we will just keep it, Andrew said, then looked at his wife. It's her all the time. It's her all the time. Oh, Andrew, go ahead and tell her who it is, Bob encouraged. It's always you, honey. It better be, Oriana replied, a smile blooming on her face. Myesha? Bob asked the youngest bride. None of the time, Myesha answered confidently. None of the time. Oh, Myesha, he said some of the time. The audience let out a collective oh. James looked at her. Well, I figured some of the time, but it's about you, of course. Okay, Myesha said, accepting the explanation with a small laugh. Kelly. Some of the time. Some of the time. He said he fantasized some of the time. Yeah. The first round of matches showed that these couples were, for the most part, in sync. But the next question brought a few surprises. Okay, here is our next question, Bob said. Ladies, what's the one thing your husband thinks you stuff your face with much too often? Be specific. Something that you stuff your face with much too often. He started with Oriana. Oriana. Donuts, she said decisively. Donuts. You know what he said? He said you stuff your face with the telephone much too often. Oriana looked at Andrew in mock outrage. Well, don't. You stuff his face with food. Oh, shut up. It's always in your mouth, Andrew teased back. What did you do today? Okay, bye, Oriana joked, mimicking a phone call. Myesha. Bob moved on. The phone, Myesha answered. The phone. He predicted you would say. Did you say the phone? Top card, James. James flipped his card. Bread. Bread, Myesha repeated, looking at James. I am not going to go there with you. Not today. Not today. You're not going to go there with him? Bob asked. No, not today. Don't go there, and if you do, don't get comfortable is what she's saying, Bob translated for the audience. Kelly. Lately, it's been ice cream, Kelly said. Ice cream. He said lately it's been potato chips. Oh, that is my favorite. Oh, Kelly exclaimed, recognizing the truth in his answer. The salt in the bag. Rip the bag, get the salt in the bag. I love him. That's true. That's when I want the salt. Out of state. Finally, Christy. Christy. I am going to have to say cereal. Cereal, all right. Your husband said it would be. No, it's your candy bars. Lots of candy bars. I don't think so, Christy countered. I eat cereal. I don't eat candy bars. You don't eat candy, Bob mused. Must be the girl he's fantasizing about. I am not thinking. The light-hearted banter continued into the final 5-point question of the segment. Here is the last of our 5-point questions. Ladies, how did your husband complete this sentence? This is him talking now. When it comes to my wife's family, I would rather spend an entire day having a root canal than a few hours with her blank. Give me a first name only, please. He looked at Myesha. Myesha, he would rather spend an entire day having a root canal than a few hours with your blank. My sister, Myesha guessed. What's her name? Malaika. Malaika. All right. He said he would rather have a root canal than spend a few hours with your mother. My mother. Oh, you know it. Myesha cried out, half shocked, half amused. My mother. James looked sheepish. I didn't have anything else to say. My mother. My mother. Myesha repeated. Yeah. I was so embarrassed when he said that, James confessed. You have a nice mother. I like her. Thank you. But he doesn't, Bob pointed out. He says he would rather have a root canal. My mother is gonna give you a root canal, Myesha joked. Bob moved to Kelly. Kelly. My brother Scott. Scott. Now, he said he would rather have a root canal than spend a few hours with your grandmother Boo Boo. Well, you know,